In this video, we're going to complete Ruth 1:3. We're going to begin after the Athnach and read to the end. By Tisha he ushane veneha, and she and her two sons remained. Remember, from the first half, Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, so Naomi and her two sons are left over. We begin the second half with a Vav consecutive form, and so it's moving the narrative right along. We have a verbal clause, verb followed by subject, and you remember that verbal clauses depict action. But what's our verb form? Now we began Ruth 1:3 with a call, but we have in the second half of the verb a nifal imperfect. It's a nifal imperfect. It's a 3FS and it's a Vav consecutive form, and my verb root is sha'ar. So let's talk about this form for a little bit. What are some characteristics I can look for the nifal imperfect? Well, under my performative, I'm going to have a hirik, and in my first root letter, I'm going to have a dagesh forte, and underneath the R1, or the first root letter, I'm going to have a kametz. And so again, let's say these boxes represent just any verbal root. The characteristics of my nifal imperfect are, I'll have my performative, which here I'll use tav, a hirik underneath the performative, dagesh forte in R1, and a kametz underneath R1. And so these are good things to look for the nifal imperfect. Next, I have the 3FS pronoun, he. But why do I have it? Why is the pronoun, 3FS pronoun, being used when the verb form implies the 3FS pronoun? The verb by itself says, and she remained. Well, why do I have it repeated here? It seems redundant. Well, the pronoun is resuming the pronoun that's implied in the verb because we have more than one subject. We have she and her two sons. And so because we have multiple subjects, this pronoun, 3FS pronoun, is resuming the pronoun of the verb. But that raises another question. If I have multiple subjects, why do I have a 3FS verb? This 3FS, it's singular and it's feminine, and it only agrees with the pronoun. Can that happen? Well, in Semitic languages, yes, it can. It happens all the time in Hebrew and in Arabic as well, that you can have a singular verb and more than one subject. But often, the verb is going to agree with the first subject. And you'll see that throughout Hebrew narrative. The disagreement is not a problem in Semitic languages. In English, we like things nice and tight. We like agreement between verb and subject. But in Semitic, it's okay. And so again, the verb is agreeing with the first subject, even though we have more than one subject. So let's look at our last little construct package here. We have a conjunctive vav, and the conjunctive vav is a shurik, is pointed like a shurik because the first letter has a vocal schwa. And so you'll get a conjunctive vav pointed like a shurik before a letter that has a vocal schwa, and also before any labial letter. So if a word begins with a labial letter, bait, mem, or pay, you're going to get a shurik for the conjunctive vav. And so those are my nice little rules for the conjunctive vav. I have the plural construct ending, And then lastly, on the word for son, I have the plural 3fs suffix, meaning her sons. If we wanted to say her son, singular, I would have this 3fs suffix. But because there's more than one son, we're using the plural 3fs suffix. And so that concludes Ruth 1:3.